If you want to know how to sell and to do it without sounding silly, then you're in for an absolute treat because I've got the wonderful Rachel Mckenna here who knows all about selling. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Judy. Morning. Thanks for inviting me along this morning.
Can't wait to hear what you've got to say, so I'm just going to hand straight over to you.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Morning, everybody. I suppose one of the things I love talking about when we're talking about selling is seeing people's reaction because you just have to say it, the word, there's certain words that I find trigger an emotion immediately. Christmas is one. This time of year, people even kind of go, I'm not using the C word, but selling is another one. I used to have to, I kind of, talk to people, or even when people say, I want to sell or I have to sell. And you immediately see people go, oh, or yeah. It's just and a lot of that is down to their reaction to how they feel about putting themselves front and center, but also the experience they've had previously. So sometimes and I don't want to be salesy and I want to just um, you know, I have to do it because I've got a business or I have to go in and present myself in a meeting, but I want to come across as me as well. And for me, what the key thing is when you're selling is because really all you're doing is having a conversation initially. You're looking to see if you can help somebody. So for some people, it's a case of just get rid of that word sales. You've got something that you can share with somebody and see if you can help them. And yes, sometimes they'll say yes, I really want that, and sometimes they'll say no, and that's okay. So I think that's the other thing. People come to sales and they think they have to get a yes every time and they have to win every order. But let's be honest, that doesn't happen. Very, in a lot of cases, particularly business owners and small business owners, there's a lot of us out there doing the same thing. So, and it's about connection and about people. So that so the core of selling is all about a relationship. And there's two relationships that you're having to have, in my eyes. There's a relationship with yourself, and then there's a relationship with the customer. And when I say the relationship with yourself, that's very much about how are you turning up? Who are you? Are you comfortable to present yourself? Because really what sales is all about is projecting yourself with confidence. And not everybody feels confident straight away. So, what is going to make you feel confident? And that's different for different people. So that's why when we talk about selling, people have a projection in their head what a salesperson has to be. But really, it's about finding the approach that works for you. And we always start with, well, who are you? How do you feel comfortable? How do you feel confident in yourself? Can you sell it to yourself, like whatever your service or your product is? Can you sell that to yourself, first of all? Because if you can sell that to yourself, then at least you kind of know, yes, I know my messaging. I know I have a good offer. I know I'm convinced myself. Because if you're not convinced, that's going to come across, isn't it, Julie? If you think
It
about it,
is. It really is.
you kind of have to, so you have to buy into yourself, first of all. And the other thing you want to do is what's going to make you stand out? Because as I said before, there's a lot of similar products or services out there. And particularly in small business, actually in any business, the difference is you, especially when you're doing the face to face. And yes, you can do a lot of the selling through the marketing and online and stuff like that. But what we really focus around is when you have to get in front of somebody, whether that's on the phone or face to face or on Zoom, and you are the difference. So you need to come on and feel, you know, is it your expertise? Is it your warmth? Is it your, energy? Is it the fact that your service is great? So, what are the key things that make you stand out? It's probably a combination of all of those, and ideally it is. And some of them, and it's kind of being reflective on yourself as to where are your strengths and where are the areas that maybe you need to maybe focus a little bit on because sometimes we avoid the bits that maybe we're not comfortable in. So it might be, listening. Some of us go in, like we're all guilty of that. When you're feeling a little bit nervous, you might do an awful lot of talking. And actually, sometimes you need to listen because, and not everybody, it's funny, I've just done a post recently around listening. So you just need to, listening is crucial. So it's kind of understanding where your strengths are, play to those, but also be very aware of the areas that maybe you need to focus in a little bit on. And for those, I would suggest that you maybe just take one at a time and maybe experiment with those. I'm a great believer in experimenting. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, take a moment and kind of at the end of the meeting and go, why did that not work? What could I do differently? And try something different the next time. And if it did work, kind of reward yourself, really hone in on that and kind of go, God, that was a good, that was great. I really listened there. And note how you feel because you want to build that confidence around all of that. So, so for me, before you even step outside and meet somebody else, you need to be comfortable in yourself. So and so and do your and by recognizing, okay, I'm uncomfortable here, almost feel, why am I uncomfortable, and what can I do to get out of that discomfort? Because getting in front of somebody, there's a bit of bravery involved in this as well. So you have to kind of, and it's okay for it to go wrong, it's okay for it not to go as brilliantly as it has. It's baby steps. I'm a great believer in baby steps because that's really important because it's like any skill. you know you're not overnight going to be the master in presenting yourself without starting small scale, and selling is a skill. So you kind of have to realize that actually start small. You're going to start as having a conversation with somebody and then see how that goes. So that's kind of, so there's, for us, it's, for me, get that comfort around yourself first of all, and understand your product, understand your strengths, understand what it is about you that makes you different. Then the other important aspect is the customer. You know, that is that, so they're the other relationship. So when you're selling, there's you and there's the customer or the prospect. So what is it about the customer? And that's when you go into a meeting, it's all about them. It's not about you. You need to step into their shoes and see it from their perspective the whole time. And it's amazing when you do that, you actually stop thinking about yourself and start thinking. And if you are nervous, by focusing on the other person, it indirectly takes away the nerves because you're starting to think about them. So see it from their point of view. And we, in selling, for people who are really uncomfortable with it, I genuinely think if you can just take the view that I'm having a conversation, I'm going in to see if I can help somebody. And to help somebody, you need to maybe ask a couple of open questions. Exactly what you did there, Julie. You kind of just nice little open and you kind of went, right, Rachel, over to you. But you kind of, like you're going to ask, when we first, before we came on the meeting, we just said, how was your weekend? Or, we had a storm. So we had a bit of a chit chat just to build a bit of a rapport and be comfortable. Um, so just what you can do before a meeting is just maybe get a couple of questions. Just, you might do a bit of research about the person, so you kind of, are they on the same network or do they have any connections that so have you met them before? Have you not met them? Have they been engaging in your marketing? So there's all those things that actually opens that conversation. But really what you're thinking about when you're talking to the customer is understanding, are they interested? Is there an interest there? And is there a motivation to actually take action to buy your product? So really, what stage are they in the sales process? Because you're selling, but they're actually buying. And to buy something, somebody needs to identify a problem that they have that they need to be filled. And then they, sometimes, that's why all our marketing is amazing because we're helping people to find problems sometimes, but sometimes people have the problem and then they go looking for the solution. And then as they get further along and closer to buying, they get more and more and refine their solution or find their what's actually going to fix their problem. So what you're doing, particularly when you're going into proactive selling, which is where instead of waiting for the buyer to come to you and buy the product, they're actually going to you're actually getting ahead of them. So you're actually initiating it. You're taking control of the buying process. So you're in some cases coming in and they didn't even know they needed your product. So, but by you sort of, having that conversation, finding out who they are, finding out what, how is there a want or a need here? And then sometimes you might find actually, there's a bit of an interest here, but you need to dig a little bit deeper. Don't just see, for example, somebody might say, I'm scared, I don't like selling. So we would kind of go, for me, I would kind of go, what is it particularly about selling that you don't like? And then you find out actually they're actually okay at selling. What they don't have is a structure, or what they don't have is they're not hitting their business targets that they want to get, or maybe it's something that I've never tried it. I don't know how to do it. So by kind of going in and digging a little bit deeper, you're really honing in on what's behind the issue that they have, and we're great believers in follow the feelings. How does that make them feel? Because emotion and motivation and feelings are all wrapped up in how somebody's going to buy from you. So you're wrapping all of that around, and you're building a rapport and a relationship to, I suppose, to build trust as well. Trust is crucial because, as I keep emphasizing, the buyer can meet five or six people who can, buy selling coaching from different people. So why would they come to me for it? And it's about building that relationship, and me really hearing what it is that they're looking for. So part of the importance of stepping into the customer's shoes. And that's why we emphasize, don't just throw the first product at them, because that's what makes people feel salesy. They're being pushed on a bit salesy. By actually hearing what it is they're doing and potentially adapting what it is you can offer, the service you're offering. So rather than saying, they might want they need a program on selling, but actually in reality, when I found out, that they're only starting out, they haven't got a huge budget. I know they can't afford my main program, but what I can do is give them the starter program just to get them going. So again, only by listening and engaging and hearing and understanding that actually I want to help these people. I want to help this person to get going. And I know if I can get them going, in time their business will grow, and I can maintain that relationship so that when their time is right and they their business to grow, then they might need more support from me and that's when you can kind of get the follow on. So don't just see the relationship as going in there, selling the first product, and then thanks very much, I'm away. Sometimes it's okay to, you know, just help them, in some cases it might be your product isn't right for them, but actually you've got a really good contact and their product is more suitable. And you might say, actually, I hear what you're saying, but actually, I think Joe down the road is more suitable for what you need at this stage. And you would recommend, and I'm a great believer in that, because to me, it's all about, being helpful, and we talk about this thing of selling with love. In a sense, we believe that how would you sell to your own family? And you wouldn't want to sell them something that's not right for them. So, and if you know somebody else is something that's actually more appropriate, I would always say, well, give them that. Because, and the reason I say that is because, and obviously you're going to recommend something that you trust the person that you're selling it to, so that person, the customer, then goes away and feels that they've got what they needed. They'll remember that I was really helpful with them. And at the same time, they know what it is I've offered them, but they also know why it wasn't suitable for them. But that doesn't mean that they're not talking to other people. And they might find, actually, that's spot on for for my colleague down the road. So it kind of comes back. And as long as you maintain that relationship and that engagement, and it might be that further down the line, it might work for them. So I think stepping into the customer's shoes is so important, so that you really can understand what it is, how you can help them. And sometimes you can't help them, and it's okay equally to walk away. I think a lot of us are sometimes scared of the big no. No is actually quite a good answer as well. Sometimes it's the maybes that are a little bit the gray areas, because the problem with gray areas is, do I spend any more time with this person? Have I actually positioned properly? I need, are they really going to say yes or no? So what you want to get is either a yes or a no, or even it's not yes but not now, or no but not in the future. So what you're trying to get is an outcome that actually helps you to work out what's my relationship with this customer going forward.
So what do you do with a maybe, Rachel?
Well, the maybe normally is you have to dig a little bit deeper. So if the maybe is spending again, if you've had your first meeting, I think you also have to remember, and it comes back to this thing of where is the person on the buying process? If this is your first meeting with somebody, very rarely, like you might be very lucky and hit and meet the person at the right time that they need your product or your service. But invariably, the first meeting is all about introducing yourself and getting to know each other. And your outcome there might be, shall we have another follow up? And the maybe might be if they come back and say, oh, I'm sort of interested in that. Shall I send you some more information on that? So they need some more, or what can I give you to help you decide what it is you need? So it might be, should we have another follow up? Will we have another meeting to kind of talk things through further or to discuss things? Or shall I send you more information and then let's have a follow up? Or in the meeting, it's about understanding and asking those open questions. And again, going back to listening, what is it? What's the maybe? What is it? What are they not? What's the reason they're not making a decision here? And understand what do they need to make that decision. Sometimes they're not the decision maker. They don't have a budget. As I said, they're in the wrong stage of the buying process. They don't feel that they trust me enough or feel comfortable enough just yet. And part of what you're trying to do is to find out what stage that motivation is and that interest to actually take the action. And sometimes that needs, either ongoing relationship or more information or just digging. Like Julie, what would you find works for you in those situations?
I would ask the question, and I would usually maybe say, would it be okay if I send you some information on something? Or would it be okay if I touch base with you in a month's time? Probably that's what I do.
Yeah. And what if they said, oh no, I'll wait for you to come back, or I'll come back to you?
Good point. Well, I might say, would it be okay to I don't know actually. I don't know what I'd say. What would you recommend?
No, the reason I say that because that's the one that catches a lot of us, and I include myself as well. Because what we're trying to do in a proactive sales is we're trying to navigate the customer through the buying process. So where possible, we want to keep control. I'm going to say control, but I don't mean in a helpful way. So if we genuinely believe that actually our product is something that our customer will should use or would benefit from, but we appreciate that it's just not quite right for them now. Rather than sort of say, would you mind if I touch base? Let's put some time in just to see where you're at. And I hear what you're saying at the moment. Using things like that, you're going back and recapping. So what I've heard so far is that you like the product and the idea. I think we get on really well. So you're kind of almost giving them all the positives, and then sort of saying, but what I'm also hearing is that at the moment you want to find out some more information about us. So let me send some, but it'd be great to put some time in our calendars now because I know you're a really busy person. So let's keep it short. Let's do another short meeting. And you're almost kind of, because it would be just to check in that information was right, because I do have lots of information. So I want to make sure I'm giving you the right information. So you're still kind of moving them along. But if they kind of say, no, I really don't want it, then you would almost potentially, that's where you're getting a no. So you might decide, okay, they still are a potential good customer. So maybe they need to go back into my email route for another little while, or I need to engage with them, give them a bit of a break, and then touch base with them later on.
Would you ask them if it's okay to do that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would probably find a way of sort of saying, we've had a great call here today. Let's talk about because it's okay if they're not the right person. You've often heard this with somebody. I hear that if you get a no, is there anyone else that you would think that might be useful, or is there anything, do you think it's a product that might suit other people and get their feedback? See, I often use this because this is my marketing background. I often think one of the lovely things about talking to customers is that you're getting an opportunity to do a bit of research. So if it's a no, why is it a no? Is it a no because it's just not right for them? But can they see it being right for other people? So, and who do they think it might be suitable for? So, in that way, you're almost getting what is it about the product they liked, or why did they not like it, or do I need to tweak it slightly? But you're subconsciously getting them to think, is there anybody in their world or their circle that it might be suitable for? Not why. So that's why I'm always saying, um, make sure that you've kind of maximized that opportunity that you when you're in front of somebody, and you want to get to the if it's a no, you don't want to spend too much time. And the last thing you want to do is spend 2 hours talking to somebody for it to be a no. Whereas if you know it's a no, and that's your gut, that's why active listening and really, you know, hearing the nuance. And that's why I'm saying digging deep quite quickly. If there's no budget there, if they're not the decision maker, if they're, or they've just finished a course already, there's too many no's there for you to spend too much time. So and that's okay to walk away. I think it's okay to walk away from sales as well, or a call. So that's why, as I said to you, it's the relationship between you and the customer as well is very important.
Absolutely. So finally, what happens if somebody just ghosts you? Say you're continuing that relationship on LinkedIn, or what if how long do you leave it before you go, do you know what? That's enough. That's done now.
That's a really good question. And I think it depends on your business model and your business. Um, you have situations where people, particularly where people, if you talk ghost, and maybe 2 years later they come back to you. So you might decide that they fall into you need to categorize. So particularly with when we talk about, if you're more established businesses, you need to be very clear about who your connections are and what you're doing with all those prospects. Where do they fall? So are there ones that you're actively engaging with? Are there those that are warm? There's potential there, but as you say, they're not engaging with you yet. That doesn't mean that there isn't an opportunity for you to just be in the background and prompt them every now and again. Because if they are your ideal customer, or a potential to have a contact with people that you think would be interested, I would always recommend that you keep engaging. Maybe not as actively. Well, when I say actively, having meetings with them, because if they're ghosting, they haven't got the time. But you know, sometimes it can be a couple of years before somebody engages. But that's why your marketing is very, very helpful as well, because that's just keeping that front of mind and keeping your name recognition out there. So I think it's ghosting. Yeah, we all deal with that. And it's not very pleasant. It's not very nice. Um, yeah, so there is resilience needed in selling as well. And I often think look, people are busy. And that's why I think if you can step into their shoes and kind of go, do you know what? They're ghosting me because they have so many priorities at the moment. I'm not a priority for them. If I keep my selling hat on, I'm frustrated because it's my priority to sell my product to them. But if you step into their shoes and realize they're ghosting me because it's not their priority yet, or not right now. I haven't had a no, but that doesn't mean, and that's where the maybe can be a bit frustrating. So that's where your marketing and your marketing strategy can be really helpful, because then you can see, are they engaging with your emails? Are they actually, when you can, there are ways around, you know, keeping the conversation going, your newsletters, or even dropping them a little, like I had a stationery company opportunity one time. I worked with a stationery company, and we were trying to get into a huge big supermarket. And like that, I couldn't get the buyer, the purchasing guy. So what I did was I started sending him a little piece of straight, like a product. It was beautiful. They were lovely products. I just dropped him a product once a week for about 3 months. Every week and I heard nothing. I'd make the phone calls. I do send them emails, got nothing. And then I think it was, no, it might have been about 5 months. Then from nowhere, he phoned me and said, okay, let's have a call, let's have a meeting. So sometimes, that's where we talk about in selling, it's resilience as well and sticking with it. But, but the key thing is, and that's why we always say about trying to know as much about the customer that they are, the sort of customer that is worth pursuing and keep going with. And I think there's an awful lot of information out there. I think we can't underestimate, the amount of information on the tip of our fingers at the moment that we can dig into and use to give us the information. You can even see why people are so busy, and why it may not be top of the priority. But that's not a good enough reason for you not to, if you believe in your product and they're at some point they are the right people for you.
Absolutely. I love that story, Rachel, the stationery story. Because also, I was thinking a little bit outside the box, wasn't it? And yeah, like you say, you have to be resilient and keep going, because it's those little things. It's all about connection at the end of the day, isn't it? When it comes to building relationships
Yeah,
with anyone. And, we can't expect, like you say, to be amazing at selling on day one. So, and I really, really love your approach as well. And the fact that you talked about selling with love. So thank you so, so much for all your gems. Please, for those of you that are watching or listening, please just check out Rachel's links down below. If you know someone who could really benefit from this recording, please share it and please subscribe. My links will be down there as well. So thank you again, and happy
thank you,
selling.
Julie.